Hello and welcome to this week's Wireless LAN News Desk. My name is Tom Carpenter. I'm the CTO at CWNP. And this week in the news, we have 4 different things that I want to talk about. First of all, I noticed a couple of vendors are talking about 802.11ax wireless access points, including Aerohive and Ruckus, among others that are also talking about their future offerings. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look to see if a certain feature is listed in these new forthcoming devices. I didn't expect it to be, and I wasn't surprised. So when we go into the specifications for this particular R730 access point from Ruckus Wireless, what I want to look at is right here in the security section. Notice it gives you WPA PSK, WPA TKIP, WPA2 AES, 802.11i, Dynamic PSK, WIPs and WIDs, but there's no mention of WPA3. Now I'm not surprised because WPA3 was just released recently. So I wasn't expecting it to be in these first generation 802.11ax access points. But I'm very interested to know when we can expect it to be included. I'm hoping that the access points that come out either very late this year or next year will include WPA3 so that we can begin using this new security technology, because having it in clients going forward is not going to be enough. We have to have it on both ends of the link in order to take advantage of it, of course, just like the server has to support HTTPS if the client's going to use HTTPS. In the same way, the access point / infrastructure has to support WPA3 if the clients are going to be able to use WPA3 connecting to that wireless network. So time will tell when that comes, but it's not being referenced yet at this point. Something certainly to keep your eyes on. Now, one thing I want to do is pause for just a moment and remind you that Wi-Fi Trek is just around the corner, 79 days out. Actually, at the time of this recording, it's 79 days, 1 hour, and 38 minutes away. So if you haven't registered yet, go to conferences.cwnp.com in order to register for Wi-Fi Trek. Watch for the specials that are announced via our emails. And if you're not signed up for our email list, you can do that at cwnp.com. Now, the next thing in the news, smart home interference is a ticking time bomb. Well, here it is, and this is a website called IoT for All, and they focus on, of course, Internet of Things. And the big thing they're talking about is that home environments in the past would have 2 or 3 devices connected to the Wi-Fi network. That's the way it was. But now, a typical home has already anywhere from 8 to 15 devices that are connected to that network, and it's going to continue to grow. As the homes get smarter, we have more Wi-Fi devices, everything from lights to refrigerators and ovens and microwaves to garage door openers and grills. The list goes on of the things that are going to be participating on the wireless network. And the focus of this article is really where it should be, and that is that in 2.4 gigahertz, there's a lot of congestion. Some of these smart home devices are Zigbee, some of them are Wi-Fi, some of them are Bluetooth, but they work in 2.4 gigahertz. Causing potential interference problems. Now, the suggestions in this article are not as exciting to me. There's not really a suggestion, hey, let's go to 5 gigahertz. Instead, the suggestion is to make sure you're using a hub in the home that takes care of this, that uses signal cancellation in order to deal with possible interference, etc. And they try to deal with it in 2.4 gigahertz. Well, I do understand that, since we've got to deal with what the devices support, and a lot of these smart home devices are 2.4 gigahertz only. But at the same time, let's also always make sure we remember to encourage the industry to be moving these devices into 5 gigahertz, or at least making 5 gigahertz an option for these devices. And that's going to give us, well, a smarter smart home. Okay, bad pun, but anyway. Now, the next thing in the news is that Wi-Fi is going 6 gigahertz. So it's been announced that after 802.11ax, the next thing we can expect to see is something called EHT, Extreme High Throughput. Now, if you've heard me talk before, you know that I like to joke about 802.11n being HT, high throughput, 802.11ac being VHT, very high throughput. And I was worried that 802.11ax was going to be VVHT, very, very high throughput. Well, they instead went with high efficiency wireless for 802.11ac, but now we're back to the high throughput moniker, and it looks like we're going to be seeing EHT, extreme high throughput. So I'm trying to think of what might be a good word that is more extreme than extreme. Could it be superbly extreme high throughput, or phenomenal high throughput, or fabulous high throughput? I'm not quite sure where we're going to go from here. Once we get to extreme, it seems we've gone to an extreme and there's nowhere else to go. Okay, all of that aside, the reality is that the focus is the 6 gigahertz band, which we hope to be opened in 2020 or 2021 for Wi-Fi use. So by the time this is done, around 2023 or so, we should be able to say, hey, this is something that we can use now for Wi-Fi. The goal is to have a lot more spectrum available and to be able to have channels up to 320 megahertz wide. I'm not sure that we would want to use those on a regular, consistent basis, but there is an opportunity there in 6 gigahertz. So we'll see how this new EHT physical layer works out. Basically, they're trying to take the 802.11ax stuff and do it in 6 gigahertz with wider channels and possibly more spatial streams and so forth. And they're trying to get it done faster than, well, the time it took for 802.11ax. We'll see if that happens, but that, of course, is the goal. Finally, the last piece of news is a bit of humor. And it's interesting because what we have here is a 17-year-old burglar who wakes up a couple in order to ask to use their Wi-Fi network. He literally breaks into their house, cuts in through a screen, goes into the house with a mask on, and wakes them up in their bedroom and says, I just want to get on your Wi-Fi because I'm out of data. So the out of data phenomenon has led now to this reality. Young people breaking into our homes in order to get on our Wi-Fi. Maybe we should all just run a guest network and leave it open and say, give it an SSID, out of data. And that way they just know, hey, use that one. We limit the amount of bandwidth you can use, but there you go. I don't know that that's a solution, but hey, it's something to think about. Interestingly enough, this was not the perpetrator's first incident. In fact, a short time earlier, the individual was found lingering outside of someone's home. They saw him and came out and said, hey, what are you doing? He said, I'm out of data. I'm just trying to get on your Wi-Fi network. And they ran him off. He got on a bike and rode away, but it turns out the bike he rode away was their bike, not his. And so when he was arrested in relation to breaking into this home to get Wi-Fi data, it was also brought up that he was the one that stole the bicycle. So he's up on charges of theft, as well as breaking and entering, and trying to steal Wi-Fi. Okay, so it looks like Wi-Fi is in demand for those who actually run out of data. I'll tell you, there's another solution to this too. If all of the cellular providers would just give unlimited data to all the accounts at a reasonable rate, we might not have this problem either. But that's another discussion for another day. Now, in summary, remember, Wi-Fi Trek is available at conferences.cwnp.com for you to register there. You now have 79 days, 1 hour, and 31 minutes and 50 seconds. So make sure you get registered before time runs out. Again, my name is Tom Carpenter, and this has been the Wireless LAN News Desk for this July date on Friday. Now, if you have not subscribed, make sure that you do so by clicking subscribe below, and you can click the little bell to get alerts about upcoming videos that have been posted. I'll post another video next week, and I'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.